The late adopter. Hi guys, welcome to a new Bitcoin video. Today we are dumping down 3%. Not actually dumping down, but we are moving in south direction. At least 3% towards downside, some kind of support. But market is very much bearish right now. Everybody's talking about some kind of bear market, some kind of dead cat bounce. That we are going down to, zero and stuff like that. So, that might be actually a good thing for price, because when people are bearish, price tend to move in the opposite direction. Now I don't see the bearishness just yet. Yes, we did move towards downside on the small time frames. We did break certain levels on the small time frames, but still on the higher time frames you'll see that we are pretty much still very much bullish. But I will also tell you when it's time to panic. What kind of level do we have to lose to actually panic again? And right now it's not time for panic. Right now it's actually time to sit down and wait, see how the price action develops and what's happening. So we're gonna be talking about this 4-hourly time frame, what's been happening, why we are dumping down here. We're also gonna look at some kind of daily time frame and what kind of support we can expect up here. And we're also gonna quickly say what's happening on the weekly time frame and some kind of supports there, and why we are not technically yet bearish. So let's start with the 4-hourly time frame up here, and there are a lot of lines here, so I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm gonna explain to you line by line what's been happening here. So yesterday I did not have this line up here, but after looking a second time on this chart up here, you can see clearly that we had some kind of uptrend up here. We broke the trend, we tried to get back 1-2 times towards the upside. We failed both of two times to get back above the trend, and then we dumped to the downside. This usually happens when you go to when you have some kind of resistance line. You go to the resistance line, try to break several times, and the price fails to do that. Price often pulls back to some kind of support, test that support, and then try again to break the resistance line. Okay, so oftentimes you'll see price trying to break the resistance line. If it fails that, it pulls back, but it does not crash. So this isn't the crash, this is just failure to break the resistance. And right now we're gonna retest the support, because if the support holds, next move towards the upside should bring us back above the resistance line. Now the resistance line is on the small time frame, so not that very much important. The more important is this one that's gonna be made here, something like this up here. This on the daily time frame. This one is a more important support that's gonna be made, but we are not quite there yet, and we don't have that level there just yet. So this line got broken on downside. Now there was a second trend line once this pivot point got created. We broke that as well on the downside. You can see here we broke that right up here. You can input down here, but I think it's something like this up here, give or take. We broke on downside and we dumped pretty much towards downside. Now when that happened, we found some kind of support here. So what kind of support is kicking up here? Well, there are several supports, but one of the supports is something like this up here. You can see that we fell down to the support down here. Now this was some kind of falling wedge up here, channel, or a falling wedge. This was actually a falling wedge up here, the way we are drawing something like this. So this is the falling wedge, but this is the channel, and this channel is actually holding up. So you can see here the channel up here, we are just falling back to the channel. So this is also some kind of support level up here. So we are technically still not in any kind of big danger or anything like that. So this is just playing as it should be playing, hitting the support. If we go back inside the channel up here, we might and we fail to get back out of the channel, we might see bottom line down here at some kind of 44 levels on the downside. What you're gonna see right now is a bigger time frame up here. This is a daily time frame, and you can see even on the daily time frame the same line goes something like this up here. There's the channel line. If you break on the channel line on the downside, what's gonna happen is we're gonna break also these two moving averages down here. So this is the 10 and 20 moving average. We are already below the 10 moving average, but this 20 moving average is still holding us up. So you can see up here when we got above that, we actually bounced on the 20 moving average, the red line, and right now we're going back down with week, retesting that support, and we're right now climbing a little bit. So we are technically sitting on the support right now, and technically still there is not much, there is all kinds of support right here. There is no reason to panic. I know 3% moves towards the downside, that's nothing. The problem is that people are very much, afraid what's gonna happen, so they, they kind of panic, because we are not in any kind of, big uptrend. The only thing we did over here is the break the downtrend. I'm gonna show you up here. we broke the downtrend, something like this up here. You can see we broke the downtrend, and you can see even this move towards downside, it's also testing this downtrend as well over here. So there is all kinds of support and confluence of support right over here where we are right now, and the time to panic is when we actually go further towards downside down here. So when it's time to panic, I'm going to show you right now. There is bigger time frames. This is daily time frames. Yeah, we can do it on daily time frames, it's fine. It's down here. This is time to panic down here. You can see, let me just remove the moving average so you can see this nicer, this line. I'm gonna also remove this line down here. This is the line to panic, guys. This is a very important levels that we have been holding over very long time, and you can see how nice this line is going through. Now if you start falling back towards downside, still not, it is crappy move towards the downside, but still not time to panic. Only time to panic is if you go down and break 46.2 or something like that. If we break this level down here, these lows down here, we'll also break this trend line, and it's only on the trend line that's time to panic. That's the panic area. So I'm not panicky until we actually get there. I can be fearful up here, you know, but I'm not panicky. So this is fear, this is panic, and this up here is like nothing. Okay, so this is some kind of small you know, snowman, right? He even has a red nose. He even has a red nose, right? Some kind of buttons. This is a snowman pattern, and on the snowman pattern you can see that, you know, the head is no problem. The body is the you know. Okay, now we are wondering, hey man, what's you doing? And when we get to, you know, when we are smelting all the way down to the feet, that's when we start panicking. So the snowman pattern is playing out right now, but we'll see how far we get down. This is, so this down here below, let me put the number down here, that's below 46.3. That's what I would, you know, consider any kind of panic mode or something like that. Fear kicks in if we break the trend line up here. I think if you break the trend line on the downside down here, kicks in, because if you do that, you'll see also on the daily time frame. Let me, if we can draw some kind of line up here on the daily time frame as well. If you break that on the daily time frame, we are breaking all of these. So something around 58. Let me see up here. 48.7. Let me just put it here on side. 48.7, something like 40. You know what? We're gonna use this one up here. Something like 48.6, 48.7. If we break those levels, if we go below this line down here, somewhere around 49 levels as well. But I would say 20 moving average. If we close below 20 moving average, now that's time to you know, get some kind of fear kicking in, because you don't want to get back inside this channel down here. It's kind of crappy thing to do. It's kind of crappy thing to do. Now we've been talking about the falling wedge down here, something like this down here. You can also see that falling wedge, even if it's some kind of falling wedge that we are retesting or something like that, right? Even if this move on the downside is some kind of falling wedge retest, you can see that this retest will, you know, have a confluence with the trend line up here and the wedge line up here. So this is some kind of falling wedge, this is some kind of a trend line. The confluence down is at 46.360. So if we do sorry about that. If we do fall into the back inside the channel, we're gonna be fearful because we're gonna go all the way down, and once we break 46.3, that's when panic is gonna kick big time in, right? Now once panic kicks in, we might get another one of these, you know, moves towards downside, and then, you know, just bounce back up again. But we have to see what's gonna happen here, how the market is looking, what kind of overextend levels we have, and stuff like that. So I'm still not fearful. Everything looks fine, at least in my books. We can also look at the volume a little bit up here, but everything looks fine in my books. You know, the dump did go down all the way down to some kind of support line. Now if you fail the support, that's when, you know, that's when we're gonna start getting fearful. On the weekly time frame, guys, on the weekly time frame, you remember that we bounce back above the 50 moving average, and this is nothing more than actually retest of the 50 moving average. So we got also a huge support here down on the 50 moving average at around 48.2, and you know, technically there is a whole bunch of support right below us, and only if we break that support, it's when, you know, we're gonna be in some kind of bad shape. But right now we are not in any kind of bad shape. It is yes, it is dumped a little bit on the downside, but still not in any kind of bad shape, and we just have to see how this develops. Also on the small time frames, this 4-hour time frame sitting on the 100 moving average down here, less support line. Other moving averages are a little bit above us, so you know, this might zigzag a little bit until they come down, and then we're gonna drop down. So I don't think we're gonna just drop down over here right now. I think we need to wait a little bit for the moving averages. So if that's gonna happen, it might be happening, you know, later tonight or maybe even tomorrow. But I'm neither optimistic nor pessimistic right now because we are on support, and every time we do something like this up here, I'm kind of just in the waiting mood. You know, I'm just waiting to see how this will develop. If there is any kind of support kicking in here, if it's gonna, you know, push us towards the upside. Let's clean this a little bit up here, just see for a second, because I haven't checked this out on the small time frames. Yeah, there is some kind of divergence here on the small time frames going towards the upside. Maybe it's gonna have a nice move towards the upside before we continue towards the downside or continue towards the upside. Really hard to say what's gonna happen next up here. And like we said, let's check the volume up here. You'll see the volume has been going down. On this move, has been going down. That's fine. But even on this move towards the upside, the volume has been continuing going down. So there is actually no the volume has just been going down entire move towards the upside, towards downside or over here. Let's see some small time frames up here. So while the price was going up, the volume has been going up, and you can see the price going down, the volume is actually going down as well. So technically, you know, the volume should go down because we're hitting some kind of support, but it's not telling us actually much how this is actually going to continue, besides that we are already at support, and we already know that we are some kind of support. Also, people have been saying that there has been some kind of a divergence up here, 4-hourly divergence. Now that divergence is played out, we went down. There is no divergence on the downside right now. Everything looks fine and dandy. So what can we say right now for today? We are at support. We are at support, and there is no reason to fear or panic or anything like that. Fear and panic kicks in below some kind of, you know, fear kicks in once we start getting inside this some kind of channel up here. You know, once we start breaking this level down here, you know, we might start getting panic. But you know, the channel line as well down here, if we break even that, that's like full-blown bear market or something like that. And you know, when people get fearful, when people get, you know, anxiety, what you gonna say? Like, price often goes in opposite direction of what people feel. Anyways, guys, that's what I got for you today. Hit the like button on the way out. Bye bye.
That was genius. Thank you. Great job. You guys did it. No, it's you.